Good day, everyone. Welcome again to my YouTube channel. This time I want to talk to you about ways of studying and passing exams. Ways of studying effectively and efficiently and passing any kind of exams. Examination comes in the life of every student and in the life of some workers, even at the place of work. But sometimes they want to promote them, sometimes they want to take some professional exams to advance in their career professionally. How then do you study? Studying is different from reading. I've come across one or two students who tell me, I read very well for that exam. I don't know what happened though. I still failed the exam. What happened, I'm going to tell you this day. What happened was that you did not study. Yes, you read. I agree with you, you read. There are 5 things involved in studying, in preparing for exam. Number 1 is survey. Number 2 is question. Number 3 is read. Number 4 is recite. Number 5 is revision. What I've just said is what is called the SQ3R method of studying, or the SQ3R technique of studying effectively. There are other techniques that can be used to study effectively outside of the SQ3R, but the SQ3R is the most preferred, is the most accepted, is the most effective and efficient of all the other methods that are involved in study. In fact, the SQ3R just covers and captures and summarizes all the other methods. So, in studying, there's S, there's Q, and there are 3 R's. R, R, R. In SQ3R, the S stands for survey, the Q stands for read, and the Q stands for question. The first R stands for read. The second R stands for recite, while the third R stands for revision. So, if somebody is saying, I read for the exam, out of 5 things, that individual did only 1 of it, which is read. So, let me now explain what we mean by SQ3R. I will take the 5 one after the other, and I will explain them, and then you understand them clearly, and I look forward to you utilizing them, putting them to use in your study, and I look forward to you coming out in flying colors. Number 1 is S, which is survey. You have a material you have been given to read, to study. Not to read, but to study. Yes, you just use the word read. But what you actually mean is study. You have a material been given to study. Number 1 thing you do is to survey the material. How many pages does the material contain? Is it containing 20 pages? Is it containing 50 pages? If it's containing 50 pages, how am I going to finish it? If it's containing 100 pages, 200 pages, 300 pages, how will I finish the material? Let me tell you one formula that I use. When some years ago, some 10 or 20 years ago, while I had a lot of materials to study, and I study my school materials from Monday to Saturdays. I have my timetable. Then any other material that is not school, that is for personal development material, that is not particularly school, that I'm not going to write the exam on, I study that on Sundays. I study every day. So I study that on Sundays. Every day does not mean that I'll do 24 hours. Maybe 2 hours, maybe 3 hours, maybe 4 hours. It depends. So I study that on Sunday. Anything is a novel, is a book that is outside of what I'm doing in the school, I study it on Sunday. Now, somebody have given me a book to read. What I will just do, and the person, to know when I will return, I don't look at the number of chapters. Okay, this book has 7 chapters. And I look at how many pages the chapters contain. If a book has 7 chapters, it will just take me to read it 7 times. Because any take up I take it, I'll read a chapter. So if it is 7 times, and I have Sundays alone to read such books, what I would do is that I would just divide that, okay, Sunday in the morning before noon, I'll read a chapter. Afternoon, I'll read a chapter. That means 2 chapters is gone from that book. So I have 5 chapters left. If it's not a Sunday, it's a normal day, but with that maybe I'm not in the school, we're on break, I can read the book. I'll read chapter by chapter still. I'll just picture it, and the moment I take it, I'll read chapter by chapter. So if a book contains 7 chapters, I can read a chapter in a day of that book. I mean, half of other things I'm doing, other materials I'm reading, but of that book, I will split it. I'll read 1 chapter per day. What that is teaching, that procedure is just a survey of the book. You survey the book, you look at the book. Who is the author? What is about the author? You check the back of the book, where they have about the book, about the author. You quickly flip through. You look at the number of chapters. You look at it. Does it have pictures inside? Does it not have picture? What is it about? You just look at it. That is survey. You survey. You just look through. You're surveying a particular environment. You are new in an environment. You are new in a place. You survey. You just walk around. You walk to the right. You walk to the left. You go down the street. You go up the street. You go to the back. You go to the front. You want to see what is in this environment. That is survey. So any book you want to read, number one thing you have to survey. You look at the book without reading it. Just look around. Just flip through. Look at the number of chapters. Look at everything. That is survey. Number 2 thing, which is the cue, is question. After you have surveyed, we are ready to study. Before you sit down, you have your pen and paper. Then you question. I've surveyed, and I've known that I want to read chapter 1. If it's the school book, I want to read chapter 1 of the book, or maybe economics, or maybe accounts, or maybe law, a law book, of any kind of material. Maybe it's even biology, chemistry, maybe it's physics, maybe it is other materials that you want to study. Now you question. Let's take for instance that it is economics, and in economics there's a topic called population. In the final classes of SS3, there's what is called population. And then you look at population, there's what is called money, even in economics. Now, when you get to that topic, money, the first thing the teacher would say is, when you come to class, when you get to that subject, that topic is, you write on the board money. And you say, today we are talking about money. And then you write it on the board, money. So, you will now say money is this. It's a medium of exchange, is this, give you different definition. Or it's even economics. They give you the definition by Lord Robbins, which states that economics is a social science which studies human behavior as a relationship between arts and ends meet, which have alternative uses. That is the most acceptable definition of economics. There are other definitions too. This definition I gave you now is by Professor Robbins. Now, after defining economics, the teacher will go on to talk about the concept of economics. The concept of economics, and talk about the concept, and then take them one after the other. It will list the concept and take them one after the other. Then you move on to other aspects of economics. Opportunity cost, and others. Opportunity costs, so many other concepts that we talk about in economics. Now, when you want to study, you have surveyed. Now, you have to question. You have not started reading. The note I've been given you, the material I've been given to you, the note I've been given to you, now question. You write it down in your jotter. Number 1, what is economics? That's the question. And you put question mark there. Number 2, what are the concepts of economics? Number 3, what is opportunity cost? Maybe you are talking about production. Then you define production. What is production? Then you talk about factors of production. What are the factors of production? Another heading. You now talk about land, labor, capital, entrepreneur. You now said, who is an entrepreneur? What is capital? What is land? What is labor? And what are their rewards? That is, you are not reading. You are just writing down the question. So you write down those questions. So when you start reading, you've written down the question. You now look at the question. My question is, what is economics? So when you now go to the note or to the text, you now take the text up and you now see economics is a social science which studies human behavior as a relationship between us and ends meet, which have alternative uses. You have asked the question. Now you are reading. This is the answer to that question. You now try to assimilate that because you are looking for something in the material you are reading. Don't just read for reading's sake as if you are reading newspapers. Many students do that. They read and read as if you are reading newspaper. They carry big textbooks and put it before them. And nothing is being assimilated, nothing is being stored upstairs. Why? Because they do not question before they start reading. So when you read that way and you have your question about economics and you read and you look at it, the economics is social science, then you hold on to that. This is what I'm looking for about economics. Then you go on. What else do you look for? What are the concepts of economics? You know them. Then you go on to production. What is production? As you are reading, you have asked that you are looking for what production is. As you read, you take time on it, and you get it, you grab it. You move on to the factors of production. You hold them tight. You move on to land. What is land? Land is a particular factor of production. Is the place where the business is taking place. Production is taking place. Okay. So what is the reward for land? You see it there. You have asked it in the question, and you are looking for it in the reading. So you note it as you see it. What is the reward for what is entrepreneur? This is what entrepreneur means. And then this is the reward for entrepreneur. You note it. What is a capital? This is what capital is. What is the reward of capital? This is the reward. You note it. And the other one also. After that, you close the book. You've read. After you survey the question, then you read. Then now, you close the book. Then you go back to your question. And then look at the question. What is economics? Then you recite. You recite or you recall. You recall your memory. Then you can now start reciting and saying, I've read it, that economics is social science. We studies human behavior as a relationship between art and ends meet, which have alternative uses. If you are able to recite and if you are able to recall, that means you will be able to get 4 out of 5. If you are able to recite and recall everything you have read, every question you have set out and you have read, that means you are able to attain 4 out of 5. Usually, I recite, but I recite very well. I recall very well by writing down. I've written down the question. I also write down the answer without looking at the book, without looking at my paper. I write down the answer. And by so doing, you are getting close. After doing that, then you go back to the material. And I will check. And you check whether what you have written down is correct according to what is in the text. Because what I've written down is what I'm supposed to write down in the exam or in the text. So if you didn't get it, then you check the correct answer and then you repeat that process. Then after that, you revise. You go back and see, and then you survey again. You go back and then you question again. You go back and then you read again. You go back and then you recite or you recall again. That is how to study. That is how to study. SQ3R, technique of study. That is it. I have a friend those days, he would just sit down with big book in the front of the class. And then he would just be looking at the book. I won't tell you what class, I won't tell you whether it's primary school, whether it's secondary school, whether it's anywhere. He would just sit down with the book and be looking at the book and open it. When the exam is written, this boy doesn't get measure up. Then I start wondering what happened to this guy. Some of us start wondering what's happening. That guy did not join us to the next class. Was imagining what's happening, but was young guy, I didn't understand. Also, I was just moving on. But later on, I got to know that this guy is not using the success the SQ3R success study technique. It's just taking the book and just looking at it. Just looking at it. It doesn't recall, it doesn't recite. It doesn't survey, it doesn't question. All it just do, it just reads. And then when you are reading, don't sit down for too long. Just sit down for a while. 40 minutes, 50 minutes. 40, 50 minutes. You read, you do everything. SQ3R, use the formula. After 40, 50 minutes, you've read. After the questioning, you do everything. 40, 50 minutes, you stand up. Take a break of 2 to 3 minutes before you now get back to the note. Because after 40 to 50 minutes, the retention, the ability to concentrate and retain by the memory begins to experience the law of diminishing return. There's a reduction. So after 40 to 50 minutes, you have studied, you have read, take a break, stand up, close the book, stand up, go out and look at everywhere and look around, and then walk around for 2 to 3 minutes. After 2 to 3 minutes, don't forget what you are doing, go back and continue your study. By that time you are refreshed, the brain will grasp again. The best time I study is early in the morning or after I have a siesta. You study early in the morning after I have my siesta. I wake up, sometimes I will sleep early in the night. I can sleep by 8 or by 9. Then I wake up by 2 a.m. or by 1 a.m. Everywhere will be silent. Then I start my studying. I can study that way until 4 a.m. Then I sleep from 4 a.m. to 6 a.m. Then I start my day, and then I move on. I start my day with God, and then I move on in the day. So this is the SQ3R technique of studying. I believe you are going to use it. And as you use it, success, definitely success, is going to be yours. I remain yours sincerely, Benga by name. Remember to subscribe to this YouTube channel, share this video with others, and click the notification button and share. I will see you some other time to your success.